So our next talk up is Rethinking Data Catalogs, the Promise and the Pitfalls. And everyone, please give a warm welcome to Harmeet and Vishal.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to this talk, Rethinking Data Catalogs, the Promises and Pitfalls. Before we get started, a quick show of hands. Who here has worked on data catalogs? Okay, nice. Raise your hand if you're happy with how you are using your data catalog. Fair enough.
Maybe we have something to learn from you then.
My name is Vishal. I'm a data consultant. I work for ThoughtWorks. I have more than 18 years of experience in designing and implementing data platforms. In that time, I have worked extensively with data catalogs. I'm also a co-organizer of Data Engineering Melbourne Meetup. And with me, I have Harmeet.
Hello, everyone. I'm Harmeet. So I'm a data engineering manager at Xero, but when I submitted this talk, I was working with Vishal at ThoughtWorks. So it's been a couple of months since I've moved to Xero, and it's been wonderful since till now. We'll see how it goes. From my experience perspective, I've been building, when I started, there was nothing called data engineering. So I started as a developer, software application developer, but gradually moved into building data platforms, ML platforms, data products, and even a lot of strategic work from a data perspective as well. And to be honest, I've seen a lot of data catalogs fail. So probably that's a bit of temptation for you to listen to us. With Vishal, I've been organizing Data Engineering Melbourne Meetup from a few years. Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? So just a caveat, it's not a technical or a Python talk. It's a more strategic talk from a data catalog perspective. So we'll start with a brief definition of what is a data catalog, why are data catalogs failing, and is there a way, maybe from our experience, we figured it out, there are ways to make it successful. And then finally, we will wrap it up with talking about measures of success and summarizing the takeaways. So what is a data catalog? So there are a lot of definitions out there in the market, and if you search the websites and different web pages. But if we cut the noise, it's just an organized inventory of your data in your company. So if you imagine something like a Google web page of data, and if you write the name of the data product or a data that you're searching for, you're able to find it in such a way that you can confidently plug into it and start using it. So essentially, it bridges the gap between technical and business realms. A hub for discovering, understanding, and using the data. So maybe Vishal can help us understand, what are the modern data catalogs promising us these days?
That's an interesting question, Harmeet. So in order to help businesses with delivering results, making data-driven decisions faster, identifying new business opportunities, and gaining a competitive advantage, the modern data catalogs, they promise to be a magical wand. The magical wand which can provide data discovery, data lineage, data governance, metadata management, so that businesses could find the right data at right time. Now, this is what they promise, but the question is, are they really keeping up to their promise? At least I have not seen it working most of the time in my career, and Harmeet in her introduction mentioned about the failures of data catalog. Let's look at some stats. So 80% of people think that data catalog is not used in their organization as expected, and 82% of organizations feel that adoption of data catalog is a struggle. Now, Harmeet, clearly something is going wrong. Why is it not working?
Yep. So yes, we know it's not working. If you look at the modern data catalogs, There are so many powerful features. It has all the automation, lot of ML, lot of AI, but most of the time it becomes a shiny tool in the organization. Now, when we look at data catalog, a successful data catalog, it's like winning a soccer game, and you need like some sort of winning goals. And those winning goals are having relevant metadata in the catalog. Now, what is that relevant metadata? Analytical, operational, business, and many other, ecosystem of metadata. But what we have seen is there are a lot of hurdles in getting those few winning goals in there. Rest of the things are there. So we are going to today tell you a story of an organization and introduce some protagonists in the world of data to tell you why this happens, which leads to failures of the data catalog. So let's introduce you to Hogwarts Financials, which has all the modern data stack, but you name it, like Snowflake, Databricks, Monte Carlo, everything, but still struggling to make the organization data enabled. So the head of data, or IT, Mr. Dumbledore, decides to invest into data catalog, and in order to make the organization data enabled. Now the main reason Mr. Dumbledore thinks that data catalog will make the organization data enabled is by its feature that you can plug in all the operational and analytical system into the data catalog and automatically start cataloging the data. And on top of that, they also think it will also resolve their compliance headaches because all the data would be there. But one thing it gets into backseat of thinking or is forgotten is the data is nothing without its context. So who is going to add that context, the business context of that data? Do we even have a buy-in from them? Did we even speak to them before investing into the data catalog? Are they on board on the journey that they are going to put metadata into the data catalog? Most of the time, no. So that's our first pitfall, that there is a utopia objective of using the data catalog to make the organization data driven, but not getting buy-in or speaking to the actual stakeholders who are expected to put the metadata. And how is this all magic is going to work? So anyways, still they progress on the journey of investing into the data catalog. So now that integration part comes in. So the data platform engineer, so this is a new character in our story, Ms. Hermione, who is a data platform engineer. Now because data catalog has a word data prefixed in it, her team gets the work of integrating the data catalog with operational and analytical systems. Now, sprint upon sprint, every showcase, they start integrating, and every showcase, they are patting on their backs by counting the number of operational and analytical systems they have integrated. But here the question is, in this team, they have their own data engineers as well. So the first question we should ask is this team themselves using it? So before we answer that question, let's ask what is it that they need? They need technical schema. Now, for the technical schema, they may already have tools like Hive or schema registry or Glue. We call them technical catalog. So they have that tool to find out the technical schema. What is the second information they need? They may need like versioning, format, relationship. For that, they may have tools like DBT, Flyway, or maybe Monte Carlo, or some sort of documentation available in their GitHub repository or Confluence pages that their team maintain. So we call them accidental catalogs. So they have their technical catalogs and accidental catalogs. So they have no reason to use the new data catalog for their work. Now, what is the information that they don't have and struggle with? One is the business context, and second, knowing about how, when and why the operational teams are going to change the schema making the life of data engineers hell because everything would start failing. So those two informations are not there in the current new data catalog. So this team has no reasons to start moving to this new data catalog, and they don't use it. They are contributing it by just doing the technical integration, but not adopting it. So let's move forward.
Cool. So next character is very interesting one, Mr. Ron, the application developer. Probably most of us are. And they are the data producers. They don't have any incentive to update the data catalog. And they have the context about the operational data, but they expect the data teams to enable the analytical use case because that's not their role, that's not their job, right? And for their dev workflow, they have their own technical catalogs, like it could be SQL Server, Oracle, Postgres, whatnot. And along with that, to maintain and track their applications, they could have system catalogs, for example, Backstage. So the pitfall is that they don't need the catalog, and it's not their problem. And the next character in our story is Ginny, the data analyst. She has no incentive to contribute to the data catalog as it is not in her workflow, or there's no incentive to use updated. So she also refrains from using it because she has some business context and she has access to the data platform which she can query. So why bother using it? And also the data catalog is not helping her build trust on data. So the pitfall is that data catalog is giving redundant information to Ginny and not helping to get trust on data. So why use data catalog? So Harmeet, is that all? Do we have any more characters left in this story?
Of course. We have a very important character, our business, right? Like product owner or product manager or someone from business. Mr. Gringotts here in our story. So data catalog is not part of their workflow. They neither use it nor contribute it. Now, they don't have incentive to contribute it. One thing that they care about is outcomes. And they have Miss Ginny, data analyst, to get those outcomes. So why would they care about contributing it or using it? So all in all, if you see, it's a system that neither creates data nor helps in analysis. Why would anyone care about learning that system or contributing it? Because it's not coming in their workflow and neither helping them. So if we, So if we bring the pitfalls that Vishal and I have shared till now and bring all characters of our story together, they have their own tools and ways to do their jobs. And data catalog doesn't fall in that space and is not helping them doing their jobs. Above all, it's creating a disjointed workflow which makes folks rarely use it. They have no reasons to use it or nor contribute to it. And that's why the key reason is, these are the key reasons that data catalogs fail. So Vishal, does that mean we shouldn't invest, or are there specific reasons we shouldn't invest in data catalog?
Interesting question, Harmeet. So that makes me think why we should not invest in data catalog. Let's see some of the reasons. So let's say if you have limited data, single source, very simple analysis, or everyone in your organization knows everything about data, where it is, how to use it, what it means, and there is no need for formal management of data. Other reason could be there is limited or no cross-team data sharing required, or if there are existing tools and processes which could handle the data discovery. These are few categories where I feel that you don't need to invest in data catalog. So do we really need to invest in data catalog, Harmeet?
Yep. So with all this, it doesn't mean that data catalogs are not needed. Of course, they have a lot of potential. There are a lot of good modern data catalogs are available out there. And we believe they have a strong force, there is an ability in these data catalogs, if used in a right way, to make data the first-class citizen or enable that data product thinking that everyone is struggling with. But we need to change our approach in how we think about data catalogs. So it may sound like a no-brainer, but again, again and again, we have seen that this keeps coming up. We should always start with the most important question that your organization is struggling to answer with. It is, again, a no-brainer, but we have seen again and again that this fails. Organizations fail at doing this. So we should prioritize those questions, identify the top question that we don't know, we are not able to answer. It could be simply like, what is our revenue? What is the customer churn rate? Or what was our sale today? Or who is our customer? So, and once you identify the topmost question, the idea is to find out the persona in our story, the characters in our story who are impacted by the problem. Then identify their golden path. Now, what is golden path? Now, golden path are the key steps any person takes to get the work done. So let me give you an example here. Let's say you want to buy something from a website. Your golden path would be finding the product, buying it, and getting it delivered. Rest everything, getting feedback, beautiful pages, beautiful background, all that is secondary. So here our objective is to make the golden path easy and effortless. So aim is to remove the hurdles in the golden path of our data users in the organization. So let's take an example. Going back to Hogwarts Financial here. So business, their golden path is to discover insights and make decisions. Now, golden path of the business is powered by golden path of the data analyst, who discovers data and creates insights in order to enable business. Next, the data platform is expected to provide a platform for the analyst to do their work, that is, discover data and build insights, build data products. So the golden path of a data platform engineer is to create a platform and provide tools to discover trustworthy data. However, they depend on application developer who create and maintain operational applications. So now, if we put this all together in a linear way, this is how it looks. Now we can clearly see what is it that they already have. Business has the context, some business, I would say much more than some business context. Data analysts have some fragmented context. They have their own ways of finding the data. And data engineers and application developers have their technical catalog, accidental catalog, and system catalog to get their work done. But now, what are hurdles in their golden path? Right? It is extremely important to see what is it that they don't have. Business struggles with the trustworthy and timely insights. Data analysts struggle to get trustworthy data and complete business context. Data engineers find it challenging to get the business context as well as operational context of that who, why, and when the operational schema is going to change. Again, repeating that fact, repeating the same thing, that making their lives hell by having a dominoes impact. On the other hand, the application developers, they don't even know how their data is being used in the analytical world and making this all fail. So Vishal, is there a way to bring data catalog to forefront and resolve the hurdles in the golden path?
Yes, Harmeet. So to bring data catalogs to the forefront of the workflow is to actively use it as a collaboration tool to collaborate rather than just using it as a catalog of information. And this collaboration can start by shifting left, that is thinking about analytics first, then thinking about analytics as a byproduct of data generation. It should all start from the use case identification, where Mr. Gringotts, the business user, could collaborate by adding information about the business context, the KPIs, the SLOs, etc., to data catalog. For example, let's say if the use case is to gain insights based on year-on-year sales growth, then the key information which could be entered about the requirements would be something like what's a use case, who and how they are going to use data, what are the key data fields, what they mean, and even going beyond and putting in information about completeness of data, freshness, etc. Now, when it comes to Ginny, who is the data analyst, she's best placed to identify the business requirements and come up with data characteristics to cater for the use case. And these data characteristics could be data design details like schema and data contracts, including the SLOs. And she could enter that in data catalog. Once Ginny uploads the information about data characteristics, Ron, the application developer, gets enough information to understand how the data is used downstream for analytics. This helps Ron to understand the KPIs and the SLOs required and thus agree on the data contract. Ron could collaborate by pushing or publishing the data contract and SLOs along with a link to the system catalog. The linking of system catalog would help all the application teams understand what data is getting published and the properties owned by the application teams. This will also help manage and solve the difficult problem of data ownership, which most of the organizations struggle with, and thereby ensuring that application teams can collaborate to create data-driven solutions. Now, Hermione, the data engineer, can provide the platform tools and features for teams to publish metadata and SLOs. Using tools provided by Hermione's data platform team, Ginny, the data analyst, can build the application or analytical use case and publish the informations like SLOs, data usage pattern, technical metadata, and business context to data catalog. The KPIs, along with SLOs, when published in data catalog, will ensure that the information about trustworthiness of data is exposed. Now, once a data catalog entry is created, in order to close the loop, Mr. Gringotts, who is a business user, can provide the feedback via data catalog so that data catalog is the main tool in our example, Hogwarts Financial, to capture feedback of data product and maintain its life cycle.
All right, so that's great. So if we see here, what we are trying to do is bring the data catalog to the forefront, making it as a primary tool in the workflow and actively building it starting from inception of the problem. When we are trying to think about the data product, ideation of the data product, requirement gathering of the data product, and then identify at the same time. Once we have incepted the problem, we are also in the whole workflow, we are including it from when we are identifying the data sources. When Ginny is identifying the data sources, she's updating the context, and also the key part, bringing the operational teams and giving them the context and ownership of the data so that they know how their data is being used for analytical purposes and setting up data contracts. And this is all empowered by the automations built by the data platform team to publish those SLOs, contracts, and SLIs and other things, right? And helping each character in our story to get rid of hurdles in their golden path and scoring that winning goal. So far, we started building the catalog, but it is important to measure it and see if it's actually adding any value. So if we remember Mr. Dumbledore started with the goal of making organization data-driven and reduce time to market and other things. Now, for which In this example, the key indicators could be trustworthiness and timeliness of data. Now, here in this example, the metrics to measure trustworthiness is number of prioritized use cases published, number of use cases with published SLOs, and percentage of SLOs met. And for timeliness, we could use improvement of lead time from data discovery to value extraction. And this can be extended by user feedback in the data catalog. And these are just examples. It depends on your organization use case, but the key here is the metrics. It's very important to start measuring it, connecting the measures to the use case and the persona. But just measure it, like start measuring it, and you can get it, you can get it perfect gradually as you go further. So we're mostly towards the end of the story, and we like to summarize it, summarize what we shared. So enterprise may need different catalogs: technical, accidental, system catalogs, enterprise catalog, based on their specific requirements. And these all can coexist, but the key here is to integrate them effectively and achieve a return on investment. So understand the user needs of your internal customers before investing into the catalog, and optimize for their golden path. If the catalog that you're going to invest into doesn't fall into that golden path, please don't invest. Avoid the unnecessary investment. You may have some things internally in your organization that you can live with.
Yep, and keep catalogs relevant by shifting left and involving users early in the process. And finally, and most importantly, use data catalogs as a collaboration tool. Make it as a first-class citizen for entire workflows, starting from ideation to the implementation of the data products. So that's the wrap-up, folks. Hope you have enjoyed the talk. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Hey, thank you so much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to ask some questions? I've got a question. I've worked in an organization that's had lots of data catalogs and none of them work together. Do you see that as is it an organizational problem, or is it just a technical problem that we just needed more link between the catalogs?
Yep.
So I think, yeah, so compliance will have their own catalog, technical teams would have their own catalog, and application team would have their own catalogs. And I think every catalog is doing their purpose. But I think the key thing that I have seen in my experience is we don't come together strategically to think about data. Data is still, I know everyone talks about, yeah, we need to make data, organization data driven, but data is still like a side function, and they make a decision around investing into data catalog. And there is, I think, a need to bring that strategic thinking at organization level and doing an assessment, what kind of catalogs do we have? And we can integrate system catalog and data catalog, because right now we don't have, I haven't seen any tool in the market that does both. So I think there is a need that every organization would have to integrate this, like do their own engineering effort. But I think we should think of the internal users as users and have a strategic thinking of integrating them. Vishal, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, certainly. So it's a common pattern to use different kind of catalog for different functions in an organization, and it's completely okay. What is important is the end goal. So are all those functions able to contribute to that end goal? So let's say if the board is getting 10 different information about their sales, they don't know what their how many customers they have. Those are the flags, where it shows that things are not working, not integrating. It's okay to have different things, but integrating them is super important.
I've got another question.
Hey, I imagine there's a lot of different stakeholders that you have to, I guess, manage. Like the data science team might have a bunch of questions they want, sales might have one thing. So how do you, when you're evaluating the effectiveness of an investment into building a data catalog, evaluate how do you trade off the different competing incentives, and what's your North Star metric that you're saying yes, we did a great job in the end across the business?
Yeah. It's again a tough question to answer, but I think every organization would have its own way. But the key is like, what's the North Star metrics of the organization? Let's say you're tracking, yearly goal of increasing. What are the use cases? Because you cannot so there is an 80-20 rule, right? So the 20, right now what we see is when we are implementing data catalog, we are trying to make every user happy in the organization. But I think instead of thinking it from a generic perspective, pick up like top 2 key things that we were saying, like pick up like the top question, and that's where you should start with. If you're able to solve those top 20 questions using your data catalog, that's the, I don't know, like if you can, I'm answering your question directly by giving you a North Star, but I think those use cases, because ultimately every investment that we are making is for ultimately, if your organization is building a product, selling that product, right? Adopting more customers. So if you're not able to do that, then probably it's not worthwhile.
Thank you so much. I'd like to present you both with your PyCon
Thank
words.
you.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
And please join me in thanking them again.